This is the Amy Edwards Show, and I'm your host, Amy. This show is here to help all of us live our best life and feel amazing at absolutely every age. We focus on transformation and empowerment through practical tools, strategies, habits, and mindset shifts that will help you unlock your potential, build self-love, and embrace your unique journey. We'll cover everything from health and wellness to personal growth and spirituality with inspiring guests and real conversations. So if you're ready to level up, break out of your comfort zone, and make lasting changes, you're in the right place. It's never too late. In fact, some of your best days haven't even happened yet. Let's get to it. Love this moment and make the next one even shinier. Welcome everyone to the show. I am so excited today because we talk a lot about leveling up, and we're talking about a topic that can definitely level you up, and you may have some real fear around it like I do. It is ignorance is bliss kind of a thing that I feel like I have with regards to crypto. So I'm excited. I'm so excited today. So let's welcome Whitney Woodcock. I've been calling you Crypto Whitney. Do you go by that?
I do. I go by all of it.
Oh, good. Okay. You are a crypto mentor and financial empowerment guide for women. You are also the founder of Queen of Millions. I mean, I love all those words that are in there. And so we're going to learn crypto today, or the basics that you share with people, and turn people onto all that you do. And I'm really excited because this is outside the box for all of it. But I'd like to say I do own like 0.000, 159, whatever it is, of a Bitcoin.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a gift from Gwyneth Paltrow. Isn't that weird?
What a good story.
I don't know her. Not really. Well, I met her once at South by, but I don't really know her. But she posted something once and she was like, I'm giving away this much in crypto to anyone, or $100 in crypto, or $50 in crypto, whatever it was, to anyone that like shares this or whatever. And I was like, I did. And so now I own it on Cash App. And so anyway, it's been fun to watch that and just like literally like pinky toe dip into it. So we'll talk about how you got here, but where do you usually start with people? And welcome.
Wonderful. Yay. First, to like set the stage for people too in this call, in this chat, is like just enter in with an open mind. Like this is where I'm like, there's plenty of information, always things to learn and know. But even wherever you're at, I always like to say, like, start off with curiosity. Like, what questions do you have? What fears do you have? Oh, I love getting into the emotional riches around money. And
that applies to so many things. And then we will not apply the same things to money that we will to other things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yes. And it's typically those fears or the questions that we have that stand as blocks. And so that's where it's like, even so in this chat too, you're like, oh, I have a pinky toe dipped into the water with this. I'm like, well, hopefully by the end of this, you're going to actually understand why, like there is a reason that we are shifting financial systems, and why there's a problem, and also how there's a huge financial possibility for you here.
Okay.
And so that's where it's just like entering with an open mind. But okay, so where for people to begin? Typically people come to me for crypto because they're like, I want freedom and I want to feel like empowered around my finances.
Yeah.
I realize that, and we can tell like even in the world too, like what is going on in the financial system? Do we trust the dollar? Mm-hmm. Like the big thing with the dollar and fiat currency and all the things is like, that goes back to us trusting in the governments. And so before we get too like deep and heady on that stuff, it's just seeing the reality of where we are right now. And I know people can feel a lot of fear with like, there's so much change going on in the world. But instead of seeing it as fear, you can also see it as just, this is opportunity season.
Always. It's like that opportunity, danger kind of Chinese symbol, that one that means both. It's like that. We can always shift into that, right?
Yeah.
There's always an opportunity to be had. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we are at a weird time right now. I know that we are recording this right before the election, and it's going to come out in the coming weeks. So who knows? But this may be very useful.
Yes. And just planting seeds for people too, like in the next year, crypto is going to be very exciting. So like really in the next 12 months is where I'm like, people pay attention now.
Why?
Okay. So
there's so much to unpack.
Yes.
I'm excited.
So first off, in the crypto market, like all financial markets, everything runs on patterns and time. And so there's, in the crypto market, particularly, it runs on a 4-year market cycle. There's things, if anyone really wants to get to the nitty gritty of it, like the way that the code works, the way that crypto works, there's an event that happens every 4 years that has price move up dramatically. It adds more scarcity. And the way you can tell this is you can just look back at the price of Bitcoin and see like what happened every 4 years.
When did Bitcoin start?
2009.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've been around for 15 years now. It's not young.
Like how you say we. We've been around. Okay.
The whole industry. Yeah. And so it's really all based on patterns where like every 4 years price moves exponentially and everyone feels that like rush where their price is going up. I have to get in. They feel the FOMO.
Yeah.
Or like a ton of millionaires are made at this time. And that's just a beautiful effect that happens within the crypto space for numerous reasons. But it's just important to see like we're at that time where it's about to go into crazy mode and blast off mode. And either you're going to be in it or you're going to feel the FOMO and you're going to want to get in when price is high. But that's when the opportunity is gone. We don't want that. No, we don't.
No.
So it's also why we're listening.
People. Exactly. I know that much. Yes. Okay. Well, how did you get into this? Let's cover that for a minute.
Amazing. So I started off, my background is originally as an engineer, construction and civil engineer. And I was living like the corporate life and realized that I was like, this life is so not for me. In so many ways. And I just craved freedom. And I find so many people do. I craved freedom and really impact and fulfillment. So.
And you got some woo in you.
Oh, I got a lot of woo.
You got a lot of woo. We connected over some things like that, you know?
Yes. A lot of it came from like meditation, yoga, a whole bundle of ayahuasca ceremonies that I realized I was like, oh, I'm creating a life based on what society and what my parents really want for me.
Damn right.
Not for me.
Nope.
So it's just important to see that stuff and then to be like, wait, I get to choose my reality and I get to create it for myself. What do I really want?
Yeah.
I crave freedom. Okay, what does that look like? I'm gonna have to go on a journey.
Yeah.
And for me, that brought me to leaving a whole bundle of things, leaving a long-term relationship, mentorship, America, the engineering stability career. And I hopped on a plane and went over to Bali. The most
lovely.
Logical thing that happens in people's worlds.
How old are you now and how old were you at that point?
I'm 30 now. And
you're only 30 too. Wow. Also, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was a little over 4 years ago. So 26-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This happened fast for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Super fast. And that's the exciting part about the whole crypto space is like, it's exponential. It moves fast.
Okay.
But yeah, so anyways, get over to Bali and I was like just meeting people and running into a whole bundle of different people that were talking about the world and possibilities and learning things in a different way. And I met this guy very quickly who spoke to me about financial literacy, the problems of the financial system, where the world is moving towards, like the fact the US dollar isn't automated. It's actually all run by humans and like how that works. And I was like, wait, we're in like 2024. Well, that back then it was 2020.
Yeah.
And I was like, shouldn't the financial system be automated? Like, why has our trust been put all in the government or all in the banks in these things?
And who is the person that's the ultimate decider on this? Like, is there one? You know, like, is there a committee? That's concerning.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure this speaks to like you probably, if you're an engineer, you have like this analytical mind that's looking for things like that, right?
I wanted to know how.
Yeah.
And so once I understood, like, I was like, oh, we're clearly running into all these problems and I want to be aligned to the solutions. I want to be aligned to the future.
Yeah.
And then when this guy taught me too, where he's like, oh, every 4 years the market cycle takes off. And I was like, wait, I want to be financially literate and I want to own my own finances and understand this stuff. Mm-hmm. So long and behold, after a month of studying this stuff, I was like, hey, so I have this retirement fund. I don't really know what to do with it. And he was like, wait, it's in the existing system. So I was like, yeah. He's like, let's pull it out and you can learn how to manage it and I can help you.
What would you say the confusion meter is on the current system versus crypto?
In what sense?
I mean, like on a scale of 1 to 10, I find the current system pretty confusing.
Yes.
So if you were talking about crypto, is it as confusing, less confusing, more confusing, like complicated? I guess maybe complicated to untangle and figure out what works for you. They both are.
I think the existing system is complicated in the sense that there's a lot of departments and people with different power things.
Okay.
So like understanding the Fed versus this and that, like that to me, it took my brain a while to wrap around.
Yeah.
Versus crypto, where I was able to be like, oh, so like the way I speak really about crypto and the money system, it's all about trust. So in the existing financial system, with the fiat currency, we're like, oh, we trust the governments. The US dollar is run by the government. Our trust is in the governments that the US government isn't going to go to zero.
Right.
and that there will be value that will be redeemed all around the world.
It's called the U.S., like it's called the trust, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and in the dollar we trust, or whatever it
Yeah.
says on literally
in
the dollar
God
bills.
we trust,
Yeah.
I think it's doesn't it?
I think so.
Anyway, we won't get into that. Okay.
And so then on the other side, I like to see it as we're simply just upgrading the system to automation. Like we're in the automated era. So to simplify crypto, it can feel complicated to people, but the only thing that we've really done is you've shifted the whole system from it run by the government and by humans making decisions to things actually being automated and things run by code.
And making sense.
Making sense.
Yeah.
And so the trust shifts to code, which is technology, which is everything we trust right now.
Totally.
Amazon Prime delivered in...
Look at us sitting here right now. Hello. You know?
You're listening. Yeah.
I mean, really, truly.
Oh, we're coming to you, yours truly in the car.
Yeah. So, okay. Continue with the guy explaining this to you.
So I think the simplicity, like people can have all these questions around, like I was very curious. I'm like, how does this stuff work? Like, why should I trust in this crypto thing that it's not going to go to zero?
Right.
That's what people fear. They're like,
Yeah.
This is all fake internet money. And it's like,
But what we're using is fake internet money too, right? Only 4% actually exists in like tangible dollars, right?
And also what a lot of people don't realize is the US dollar isn't even backed by gold or silver or anything. No. We hopped off of the gold standard in 1971 or 73 with Nixon. This is like a mind-blowing thing to people, but it's like the US dollar is simply just backed by whatever the government says.
Yeah.
Hence when all the trillions of dollars are printed.
And if you're holding on if your mattress is stuffed with cash, it could seriously be worth nothing anyway, right? I mean, if everything fell to shit, would that even be worth anything? I mean,
well, I think that gets into a little bit of fear things for people. Sure. All those cycles. But so like to zoom out on that aspect, I like to think like people fear like putting their money into crypto because they're fearful of losing money.
Yes.
And that fear is very, very real. My other question is, okay, so if you're holding US dollars, isn't basically the only guarantee is that you're losing money by holding USD? Like it's going down in value. They're printing more money, more inflation's coming. Your spending power is losing.
Yeah.
So by you not making moves and by staying in cash, you're actually losing money.
And then what's the other option? The stock market? There's no guarantee with that, like you could easily lose in that.
Yeah. So I think it's a huge game of risk balancing, but also being like, okay, so we're here right now in the world. This is where my brain loves to go, like problem solution.
Okay.
Yes, there's problems. How do we align to the solution of where the future is going?
Love it.
This is even where like the whole AI movement, people are obsessed with it because they're like, well, obviously we can't kill AI. Same thing's happening with crypto. Like they realize globally, like the governments can restrict in certain things, but they can't kill crypto.
Right.
It's all run by code. It's all automated. It's going to work. And so the real question is like, what do you value aligning yourself to? Do you want to be aligned to something that continues to lose power and continues to die a little bit? Or do you want to be aligned to the changing times that grows exponentially?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, you said every 4 years, it just coincidentally aligns with our election or?
Well, this is where, so going back into like, okay, within the crypto space, also I think one part of my story that I think lands with a lot of people and gets a lot of attention is, so when I pulled that retirement fund out.
Okay. Yeah. Back to this.
Yes.
Tell me.
So number wise, I just like to speak in numbers for people. So I started off, that was like 38K. And then I started playing with different assets as I was like getting financially literate. And I was playing in different systems and things. I ended up getting that. This was before I was playing in crypto, but for that first chunk of time I was playing there, and 38K went down to 25K. And then I was like, okay, like it's time to like get into crypto. Like this is really truly what I've been going after. Like I need to get in. And we had been doing all the research to figure out which projects to get in. And so October 2020, slide into crypto. Notice this is also just about 4 years ago from when this is going to go. And within 9 months, I look at my portfolio and 25K turns into over $500,000.
Damn.
So that's a 22x.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely absurd.
In what time frame was that?
9 months.
9 months.
And so this is the 4-year market cycle.
Like you grew a baby.
Truly a freedom baby.
Yeah, freedom baby.
And so a lot of people can think like, oh, maybe you got lucky or whatever this is. And like, yes, there's always some luck related to it, but there's also a really deep science of understanding which cryptos are undervalued and which ones are going to keep growing exponentially. And there's like, at this point, there's well over 1 million different ways you can invest in crypto.
What?
It's absurd.
What? When you said what projects to get into too, I'm like, wait, what? I don't know. Like, what projects are there? Okay.
So projects are like coins.
I know nothing. So treat me like a novice. Okay.
Yes. So entering the crypto space, there's just all these different optionalities. So a lot of people are like, yes, I buy my Bitcoin, which Bitcoin is great. But also if you do want to get that like 22x type of return, like I love to find ones that are like 10 to 20 to 50x type of gains. And honestly, buying Bitcoin is not going to be your thing.
No.
Because like Bitcoin's just
it's already too high, right? Like
it's been around longer. Yeah. So it's seeing like, okay, how do you even diversify yourself in the crypto space? And like, which ones do you buy and why? And like, that's all stuff that I teach people.
And there's over 1 million?
Yeah.
What? Okay. That's what you teach people. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So like the whole methodology, this is where I'm like in this type of conversation, it's just entering with curiosity of being like, oh, I've been curious about this stuff. Is this something I want to dive in deeper with? Mm-hmm. Do I want to align my finances to the future? Do I want to get exposure to this stuff? How do I want to do this? Like Bitcoin is one very easy way.
Who starts all these million projects?
There's always founders, like founders, creators. I mean, it's more for founders than anything.
How come you haven't?
I find the whole marketing thing of like marketing a coin, that takes a whole different thing. My passion's really around teaching people and having people feel empowered about what they're doing and why.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm very clear with what my lane is.
Okay, cool. And you do just the investment side and teaching.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about what our process is in the next 12 months if we wanted to explore this.
Yeah.
Or did we finish your story? Yeah. We talked about your investment, your 9-month baby.
Yeah. So it went up, and basically from there too, that's also where I find like the journey basically as like a human holding your own finances and like having that empowerment. Cause like you actually get to own your own money.
It's the shit, man. I love it.
It truly is. Mm-hmm. And that's when like the deep process actually begins, like the deep inner work of like you have your money, but then it's a matter of, okay, wealth, net worth, value, everything goes up. You're now holding more money, more power, more freedom. How do you shift on an inner level? What does that relationship to money come up with as well? And so this is where I personally found in my process, like I didn't have a community. I had my mentor, but also he was like my mentor. He was like very linear, or not linear, but he was very like masculine guy thinking. And I just didn't feel like I had like a space for emotions to be supported. And so I find a huge process of like building wealth is also the next process, which I'm sure you've probably gone through this in different levels, is like sustaining your wealth.
Oh, I've been up, I've been down, I'm all over the place in my life. I mean, I'm 52 and I've inherited money, but I did come from a dad who liked the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah. My dad taught me like Rich Dad. Like that book was not groundbreaking for me. Like my dad always taught me, make your money, have your money make money for you. You know, like all those really basic things he said, and he built himself up to that. So what did you come from like with your family and your background? Because there's a lot of like worthiness and old programming that we got to break for many people.
Oh, so many. Mm-hmm. Personally, my dad was an engineer. Mom stayed home, but she had like accounting degree, but still like money wasn't spoken about in our house. Like my grandma taught me like the money game to understand like what money means, but I was just basically taught.
Grandma. Yeah. I love it.
Oh, she was
matriarch figure stepping in. Hello. Yeah.
Yes.
Gave me a little chill. I love it. What was her name?
Betty.
Let's shout out Betty.
Betty lived to 100. Oh, bless.
Oh, fuck
Betty.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. Did she like take care of her financial situation up to the end too?
And she was so proud. Like the biggest thing was I was really taught was to save. Which is one great practice and energy. But if you're just saving, you're not growing and investing.
Yeah.
It's a hoarding.
I'm more of an investor, not a saver. I've never been known for my saving. Oh, good. Oh, thank God. Hear that, Dad? Okay.
I think the investor identity is such a powerful one to lean into.
Yeah.
And that's like where true freedom lives.
It really, truly is.
it made me grow accustomed to not asking permission for stuff, like in the 90s, I bought some stock in Dell and it was in that boom where Dell just doubled and doubled and doubled and doubled. And I opened my own clothing store and like did what I wanted to do, And so it really does make your mindset shift into a freedom mentality.
Ooh,
it's really cool.
Ooh, I love that you leaned into the .com boom.
Yeah.
Because this is very much what I loved comparing even like crypto to the internet boom. So I'm like, what would it be? What would your wealth be like if you invested back in the early days?
Oof.
And I find we're at a very similar point where I was like, I was a little baby back then. So like that would not have been even on my radar.
Right.
Yeah. But now that we have this opportunity and we can see like, okay, this stuff is not going away. Kind of like with the whole AI boom too. So then how are you having your money work for you?
Totally. I mean, you can bitch about it all you want, but are you going to adapt and grow and find ways that you can work in the new what's the word? Whatever. The new something,
Times.
Yeah, times. Let's go with that. That's not the word I was looking for, but yeah.
So for yourself and like investing in in Dell and like back in those times.
Yeah.
Did you have any fear or resistance around that?
At that time, I didn't because I invested so small and then it just took off. And my dad had always invested, but he wasn't a stock market investor. He was more real estate. And so that's so long term. He bought me some land outside Houston that literally took 25 years to pay off, And so I invested like $2,000. So it was just like, I'm of the mindset that like, even if I loan money to somebody, I just operate under, you may never see it again, like I don't want to live in that fear of when am I going to get that back or have it affect a relationship. So yeah, it wasn't really fear-based for me.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
I thought it would be fun to see what happens.
That fun energy. And that's where I find like a lot of
shit. That's my issue. Okay. Yes.
You're like,
hello.
You said that's your issue.
Yeah.
Too much fun.
I think that in other times I have let a fear energy creep in. Interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But mostly I don't. I'm an investor also in a venture capital tech fund and a few other things. So like, that's my main stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, so where are you beginning? Probably with this mindset, huh? That's important.
Yeah. The question that I always love asking anyone is like, what do you feel about crypto? Like, what's your fears? Please lay it on me.
I love that. I think I don't understand it, right? And it seems like it's in this bro space that I feel outside of, and I feel like perhaps I don't have the capability to understand it. Gwyneth Paltrow does though, and you do. And I also feel like it could like collapse or something, that it's just gonna disappear in some way, or someone's going to steal it all. I don't know. I think there's that like technological aspect of it too.
Did you have similar fears like this when the internet was being born?
I don't think so. It's funny to be able to speak to that, right? Because a lot of people can't probably, but I mean, maybe a little bit, but it was gradual. It was very gradual with the internet. I guess I didn't understand that so much of our lives would be on it. I was just reading a meme today that was like, we don't actually own movies or own music. We're subscribing to these things. And so, like, say it all went away, we would not actually be able to pop a movie in or whatever. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, we are really in it.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reason I ask around that is just comparing and noticing, like, humans, we typically have like a lot of similar repeating patterns that come up around these things.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And so the more you can start to see it, you're like, oh, this is just like, I love studying like the adoption curve of things, but really to zoom this out for people, it's like seeing money change, like aligning to change. All of this is a game of energy. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, we can think like, oh, money, this isn't about me. I can't do these things. This stuff is really hard for me. But I'm like, wait. You are really good. I'm sure you're really intuitive. and also like really good at reading energy and patterns. Like, and that's also our gift as women too, is like, we're really good at reading patterns and cycles, and also like zooming out and being like, oh, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
That's all game of investing is to be like, oh, there's problems with this. There's this solution. Oh, you can see where the pattern is. Like, we're having all these financial problems. Oh, the US dollar's in so much debt, like so much debt.
So much that our minds can't even conceive.
No. And also like, what are they we're just addicted to printing right now, printing dollars. Is that
We are.
is any of that slowing down? And like, we've all just kind of accepted, we're like, oh, well, duh, they're just gonna have to print more dollars. Like, that's not the solution. Like, the dollars are printing themselves out of shifts are gonna have to be made. Mm-hmm. And so instead of just being like, oh, there's these problems, it's for someone else, I like to say, no, wait, can we just like tug on that energy cord just a little bit and be like, what's part of the future? What's not going away? What has been adopted by people to be like, this is part of the future.
Yeah.
And that's where like Bitcoin is one example that really has been adopted by so many people. I wish I looked up what the market cap was these days.
That's like our mainstream entry point, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
So if we're looking at the crypto world, intro for people into the crypto world.
Great, let's do that.
For you is, so Bitcoin was the first coin that was created. And then from there, it's kind of like even with the internet, we're going to go back to the analogy, is there's all these little sectors that live within the internet. So there's search engines, social media, advertisements. Like, you just keep going down all these different sectors and different ways you get to play with the internet.
Cloud storage, sure. There's all sorts of things, right?
The same thing's happening with crypto.
Oh, like what?
So in the crypto space, for example, there is Bitcoin. There are also you can build projects, you can build coins on the chains, hence why there's like 1 million different coins.
Oh.
There's
on the blockchain?
Yes, exactly. Blockchain. The blockchain is the system of how everything works.
Okay.
So it's like the architecture of everyone's like, oh, how can we confirm that information and transactions and I can trust everything? Blockchain works.
I like that they named it something that makes sense.
Oh, the blockchain's so fascinating.
Blockchain. Yeah, I mean, like, okay.
It's the blockchain for simple mind is just thinking it's a chain that connects all the information together.
Great.
So it's the accounting system.
Whoever named that, way to go.
Right. You got something
job.
Right.
Okay.
There's so many other lingo things that just go over so many people's heads. But going back to it, like in the crypto world, like there's the AI sector. So there's different coins that are associated to different AI technologies. Mm-hmm. There's DeFi, which is decentralized finance. So that's like turning finance truly into a decentralized world. And you can swap all based through code, and that's a whole world in itself. There's DePIN, which is decentralized physical infrastructure. There's all these different sectors that live within it. Mm-hmm. Dogecoin, if anyone's heard about that, that's like in the meme coin sector.
What does that mean?
Okay, so like memes.
But that's Elon Musk's, right? Or something? Or
so Elon,
he's a proponent of it.
Yes, exactly. So basically with any meme coin, there's like a huge buzz around meme coins these days. Personally, I'm not a huge meme coin investor.
What does it mean?
So basically people create these coins and they're like, oh, cute dog face.
Yes.
I want this coin to go up. Mm-hmm. And so they create this coin, they put out a supply, and if people buy it and if people give value to these things, mm-hmm. price goes up. And that's how just the markets work and move. So a huge thing in the crypto space is I like to see, yes, there's a lot of information, but more than anything, crypto is just a game about moving people. It's a movement. So if people can create a buzz around something that attracts more people in to have people use it, price goes up. That's what's been going on with Bitcoin is people started off and they were like, oh, this Bitcoin thing, I can send it peer to peer. There's a set supply. It all works. It's all by code. I don't want the government to meddle with my stuff.
Is it regulated at all by the government?
We're basically no, in short. We're waiting for a few more rules to come in because the government has been resisting giving us rules.
Oh, and you want these rules?
We want rules because like anyone wants to have rules to be able to know how to play the game. But instead, the government has just been, like the SEC has just been suing a whole bundle of companies.
Okay.
Because they're like, oh, let's just settle this in court. And we're like, can you just give us laws?
Yeah.
But yeah, in short, like crypto is unregulated.
Well, I guess if there's court cases, that'll set some laws, right?
So it sets precedent.
It sounds so revolutionary,
Yeah.
Which I've known that, but not well. Like I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What other curiosities do you have?
Like what I would do if I wanted to start, exploring it. Like where would I go and what would I do?
Yeah.
I mean, other than, working with you.
Yeah. So physically, how, like people ask, they're like, how do I physically buy these things? It's like you would open up it's called an exchange, but it would be like opening up a broker account with different companies. So like Coinbase is one of the most popular in the US and around the globe.
Sure. Are they exclusively crypto?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you you create your account with that. So my top 3 favorite for anyone who's listening is Coinbase, Kraken, and Gemini for American users. And then from there, you can connect your bank account to it, send money in, and then you can figure out which coins you buy.
Cool.
That's like the short and sweet physically how to.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that the big money is really made in the just like set up the account, do the thing. Instead, the real money is made through the research of what you do and really like your confidence and your conviction in what you're doing.
Okay.
Kind of like with any job, anything in life.
What are you looking for when you're researching?
So a few things that like, this is where I can get further into details when like people are like, yo, I want to go further in.
Mm-hmm.
But a huge thing that I really look for is around like the buzz, like first off, like what it actually physically does. Like what does this coin do? Is it a technology? Is it an innovation? How is it helping the crypto world? What's the reason people would buy it?
So different coins do different things. I'm sorry, that's remedial, but
Yes.
I don't understand. Okay.
Yes. So that's even like, if we want to zoom back to I was talking about like the different sectors.
Mm-hmm.
So like after Bitcoin was born, Ethereum was the next coin that came out.
I remember that.
Do you know what Ethereum does?
No.
Okay. So Ethereum is called a layer 1. And basically what this network does is it allows people to build coins on top of the network.
Okay.
And these coins can have different utilities. You like program it and design it.
Mm-hmm.
Using like smart contracts. Like we're getting super into tech stuff here.
Okay.
But just realizing like every single coin has a different reason of how it works, why it works, who it's for. And that's kind of like the marketing, but also the use case behind it.
Which I don't really understand. That sounds like an investment to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what
it is?
I mean, you're buying these coins.
Okay.
It's an investment.
Uh-huh.
That's the way I see it
Yeah.
too. A lot of people could say this is very speculative, but I'm like, no, there's actually utility behind these certain coins.
Yeah.
And so question being like, as you're looking at other coins, you get to ask yourself, like, what problem does this particularly solve? Why would other people want to buy this?
Give me an example.
Why would I want to buy this? I will use, which example shall I use? I'm going to use a basic one right now. I'm going to use
Yes, please. Basic. I'm sitting here like, why am I confused? Okay.
Yes. So have you heard of Solana?
I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like I have.
So Solana is a coin. So it's a network. It's a layer 1 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this network in particular has blown up this year. The coin that you can buy is Sol, S-O-L. And this coin, reason it's blown up is because people are building a lot of meme coins on the Solana network. And they're having a lot of fun on the network. They're like, oh, meme coins are so fun. I'm getting really rich off of it. I can go create it really easily. And also like Solana did have like a very solid backing of other investors, other community members. Like people saw the technology there, that it was easy for people to use. And so because there's been that hype, people are like, oh, I'm going to buy Solana because I know that more people are going to be building on this network. Mm-hmm. There's going to be more utility. They can see the trend where they're like, it's not slowing down. There's just more people coming in.
Okay.
So Solana is an example where people are like, oh, I want to buy this thing because I have a feeling that price is going to keep going up. People are going to keep on building on this network.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to sell when things are high.
Yeah. I feel almost like I'm translating a language. I feel like I'm translating from dollars, how I've always functioned, into coin and then back into dollars. Like I feel like I'm like, oh, so you would take your dollars out of your bank account, go invest it in this, and then turn it back into dollars and do something with it. Like that's,
yeah.
Oh, you're nodding your head. Okay. Okay. That's good. I'm not, because I guess I'm wondering, do you operate solely in that is there going to be a world even when we operate solely there? Like you start buying things and functioning there and you don't translate it back to dollars.
You totally can. Like
You totally can.
Yeah.
Like what are you paying for in crypto?
Well, I mean, first off, people can send me crypto for services. I've done this with other coaches too, and other people who have worked with me.
Okay, great example.
You can just you can send it because it's going from person to person, or in crypto sends peer to peer.
But when we say crypto, we're saying its value in dollars, right?
Yes. So if like you're like, oh, I have this amount of Bitcoin, or like I have to pay you $100 worth. You can calculate it and then just send it to their address and be like, okay, covered it.
Huh. I wonder, will there ever be a way where we're not translating it into dollars and we can understand the value in a different way? Are we stuck with dollars? I guess.
So the reason that we're converting it to dollars goes back to like what the global reserve is. Like people have denominated dollars as the global baseline.
I don't know how else we would express it.
Because it's stable. It's not volatile.
Okay.
So the problem with crypto, but not really problem, like it's actually a feature more than a bug, is the volatility. So we can't really, it's hard for us to price something in the terms of Bitcoin because the rate changes so rapidly.
Right. I know you remarked that when I was like, when do you want this to come out? And you were like, well, the market changes. And I was like, oh, something to think about, I guess. So, okay. But you understood what I was saying. Thank you. Because I'm glad to know that that's a normal way of thinking about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so may there be a time that people are transacting fully in crypto? Mm-hmm. Well, little reality check for anyone who doesn't know is there's a ton of people out there who purely live off of crypto and purely will like pay their rent off of crypto. Like people do this already.
Do they have to pay taxes? Is that where the laws are confusing?
Tax laws are a little bit more clear, but anytime you're swapping coins, it's a taxable event.
I see. It's treated kind of like an investment.
Yeah. And then anytime that you're swapping money to someone, or you're giving money to someone, technically that is a taxable event as well.
Yeah.
But so I do think that there will be a time in a reality where the system will be more incorporated and it will be more user-friendly. But at that point, it won't be as exponential because it'll be more adopted. And therefore, like our whole conversation about like, oh, making money and exponentially growing your stuff, that won't be the conversation because it will be less volatile. There will be less financial gain to be had because everyone's using it.
Wow.
This podcast is sponsored by Wands. Wands creates luxurious pleasure practice tools that help people become more connected to their bodies. They have a huge selection of incredible items like yoni eggs, the most gorgeous crystal pleasure wands you've ever seen, free bleed blankets, and my favorites, the trademarked glass cervix wand and the Venus wand, which is their heaviest wand made of stainless steel, and their new ecstatic vibrator. This company is woman-owned and creates products designed to help you become more connected to your body and your pleasure and support the healing of pelvic pain. Get yours today in their always discreet packaging at wands.com. That's Wands with 2 A's, WAANDS.com, and use my link in the show notes to get 10% off or enter the code Amy Edwards at checkout. Again, that's Wands, WAANDS.com. The Amy Edwards Show is sponsored in part by Higher Dose. Higher Dose creates wellness tech for everyone with tools, supplements, and body care. And I have 15% off for you with my code MAGIC15. Higher Dose has been featured in Goop, Glamour, Elle, Vogue, Bazaar, Allure, and more. I have their infrared pulsed electromagnetic field, or PEMF mat, which emits electromagnetic waves that mimic natural frequencies found in nature, stimulating and encouraging your body's natural recovery process. It also has 20 pounds of crystals in it and has shown to ease chronic pain, aid in exercise recovery and circulation, deepen your meditations, reduce stress, and improve total body relaxation. I also love their red light face mask. It stimulates collagen, reduces fine lines, regenerates cells, and it's soft and easy to use and store and even travel with. I'm a true fan of these items and more, like their glow serum. So I'm excited to offer you 15% off using my code MAGIC15. Go to the show notes. You can click through on the link right there. Or if you go to Higher Dose, just enter the code MAGIC15 for 15% off. HigherDose.com. This podcast is sponsored by The Collective ATX. If you're looking for the best in hair extensions, it's The Collective ATX. They do mine, and I won't go anywhere else. I've tried them all over the years, and finally, I've found what makes my real hair stronger and fuller, and even works with my natural curl. They keep all their extensions in-house, so there's no wait, and they specialize in no damage to your natural hair like traditional hair extension methods. Plus, they're pros at color and covering gray. I have literally never in my life been happier with my color. They were named a top 200 salon by Salon Today in 2023. They've changed my hair journey. Let them change yours. The Collective ATX, link is in the show notes.
Can we back up 1 second? And when you say, I know you said there's all these different spaces, and when you say what a coin does, I don't quite understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it sounds like what it's funding, but who is doing that and what is it? I don't understand that. Is it an actual tangible thing that it's doing?
Like, how do we describe this one? In short, a coin lives, how do I describe that?
I don't know. Good. Okay. I've challenged you.
One of the problems that we've run into with the financial system is that there is there's the US dollar is not capped. So like inflation happens, there's an unlimited amount of coins. There's an unlimited amount of dollars.
Okay.
When we're talking about coins, people are trying to create demand so that price can go up. So it can be an investable gain for a lot of people. Each of those coins, it goes back to like supply, demand, finding reasons and rhymes to have price go up, but also a reason for people to buy things. So what do they do? That goes back to like what it's been programmed to do. So like another example of like one coin that I like is called Hex. And Hex is one where you could like stake it and it would be like a CD, kind of like a traditional certificate of deposit.
Stake it?
So you know like what a CD, traditional? Yeah. So where you could buy a CD and then you could get like 5% per year on interest. Mm-hmm. You can do the same thing with this one with Hex and get like 38% per year.
Damn.
Of this coin. Mm-hmm. And so you're staking it is what it means when you buy it and you put it in the system for a certain amount of time. And the smart contract pays you, like the crypto system pays you back with coins.
Okay.
So that's like a use case, is that you can get paid with more coins.
What is that money doing while it's in there?
It's working on the blockchain. It's like working on the network.
That's what I want to know. It's working on the network?
Yeah. So it's like sitting there and it's mining. These are all terms.
No, I've heard of mining, of course.
So mining is like doing work on the blockchain. Okay. So it's like birthing new coins.
Yeah. That's a whole nother thing too that I find like, wow, I don't quite have a grasp on. So
yes.
Maybe you want to touch on that really quick too.
Well, so like we're getting really into the nitty gritty for people and for yourself too. And I think the first question is like, before you get into all the tech stuff, it's more a question of there are all these coins, and really what your job is as an investor is to understand which coins have a demand.
Okay.
Which ones have like a hype behind it. So like they have a community. They have something where it's like, oh, price is going to go up. Like there's so much like passion and there's other people speaking about it. And there's such a hype around it.
Yeah.
Because like really everything in the world, like I think we can see it now where there's like narrative sell, marketing sells. Mm-hmm. And if people can understand and like bottle it up in like a short little thing, they're like with Bitcoin, okay, inflation's happening. This is an inflation protection.
Yeah.
If people get that in their brain, they're like, oh, why am I buying Bitcoin? Inflation protection. Mm-hmm. People like short narratives, and that helps more people buy, and that helps price go up.
Cool.
So when we're looking at any of these coins, what I fundamentally like to do is go back to like, why would price go up? Who else would like to buy?
Demand.
Yeah, demand.
I think that I uncovered a fear while you were talking about that. And I think the fear was around it. I'm too late, and so that's a good one to speak to, because you were saying we're about to have a surge. This is a great time.
Yes. Yes. So,
I mean, I wouldn't think that about the stock market. I think there's lots of options, and you just got to choose the right one and do it when it, buy low, sell high kind of a jam.
yes,
Yeah.
totally. The benefit also, like, this is where I'm like, people being too late. I'm like, okay, so when did you hear about it? Why do you think you're still too late? And a lot of times people are like, oh, well, I heard about it back like 4 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever this is. And my buddy did really well off of this, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, because that person might have been an earlier adopter than you.
Mm-hmm.
And now that person gets to act as evidence for you that this stuff isn't going away. It actually is real.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the invitation to be like, oh, I'm here right now. Do I actually want to act on that invitation? Do I see that this, like, he's acted as an example in my world to know that this stuff isn't going away? Oh, so maybe I want to get in now. Because long term, I think we can sometimes get a little too narrow-minded around like, it's too late, because we're just too zoomed in on things.
Yeah.
But it's like, wait, if you invested in this in 10 years, it was worth, like, if we're at 70K right now, if it was worth $1 million for a coin, wouldn't you think that was a pretty smart move?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, if you think you're too late, I invite you to zoom out. And then also, like you said, even within the stock market, there's all these different coins.
Right,
There's
coins.
all these different investments.
Options.
Yep, exactly, that you can buy.
Yeah.
And so Bitcoin's one example. Particularly, it's not something that I love buying, just because of its growth potential.
Yeah.
So that's where I find other younger innovative coins and other innovative networks that I'm like, oh, this is super undervalued. This has all the frameworks and all the numbers and all the mechanisms and the community and the use case. Like, this has all the reasons that it's pointing back really for price to go up.
Yeah. What are some markers of something undervalued?
First, like, this is where I had mentioned this before, but really around like the community. I love that. I love seeing other people, like a very solid community founding of people being like, I'm so excited about this. I'm building on this. I want to share it with the world. That's anything in the world. If you have people out there being little marketing people, spreading the good word, then okay, cool. You have a community, you have a space where people actually feel like they belong. That's one thing I love. I also love looking at the founder. I love looking at like their intentions, their energy. I actually ask all like my students, I'm like, go read their energy. Like,
Ooh, I like that.
yeah. I'm like, what's the intention behind this person?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot that you can look within the founder too, just to understand like basically why they've done what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
Because the energy that they create with is also what they'll keep on attracting in.
Yeah. That's like that fun thing that we were talking about. What fears did you have when you started doing this that you had to overcome, or emotions perhaps that you've worked through?
Okay. So mine was I'm the oldest of 3 girls. And like, I was raised in Massachusetts, like in suburbia. Like I said, my dad, engineer, mom stay at home. Like, we lived white picket fence, golden retriever, like literally like picturesque America type of thing. And so for me, it was more like breaking the fear of the identity for me of like being, first off, getting it wrong. And then the other part of like, I'm the good girl. I am now investing in these super risky things that, of course, my family doesn't get. And they may think that I'm crazy for this. So that was a little fear. But on the other side, I also wanted to prove to myself, like, how resilient am I?
Yeah. And have your sisters started investing?
No.
I wonder why.
One,
I mean, it sounds like a pretty traditional upbringing. So maybe
yes.
those are hard patterns to overcome.
And there has to be a desire. This is where I think for each individual, like there has to be a desire to want to take your money into your hands. One of my sisters has her husband who handles a lot of the money stuff. And she just she enjoys more of the having fun and not really managing her own stuff. That
scares the shit out of me. I mean, I have a friend who her husband handles everything. And I mean, she's like in her 50s, but I mean, they had a problem in their marriage. And she was like, I literally have nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, that's so scary to me.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
And then another one of my sisters is just, she's more in the traditional stuff and figuring things out too. So it's just, if it doesn't call to people yet in their life, like whether it's freedom, for me, that's just a huge value. And if you don't particularly want to align to the future and you're like, oh, the future's a little bit scary, you're not going to lean into crypto right away.
Yeah.
So instead I like to be evidence, whether it's for them.
Although we're not right away at this point. I mean, like you said, it has established. Like we're not like, I feel like I mean, it's been around. It's not.
Okay. So
it's still new, I suppose. Yes, but.
So it is new. So also just to acknowledge I believe that you align yourself to pretty innovative people.
I do. Yes. And like Justin with Fight for the Forgotten, I think in 2018 or something, someone donated like a bunch of crypto that went way up and was a massively good investment. I mean, or donation for Fight for the Forgotten. So this is cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's even just like, I think we have to like remind ourselves of how our networks are kind of spread too.
True.
Where it's like you're aligning yourself to very innovative people. And if you feel like it's so yesterday and it's so behind, it's actually probably a really ripe opportunity.
Okay, cool. I've always been a little ahead.
Exactly. little trendsetter.
I'm always looking for the next thing, kind of, and like what's different, what's interesting, curious.
Yes.
And
you're like literally leading these conversations too.
Yeah.
So you're sitting with like literally all the front runners.
Okay. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's like, if it feels boring to you, that's actually probably a really good sign for others, or it's like, oh,
yeah, it definitely doesn't feel boring. I'm sure there's just some fear and ignorance mixed in with that. But I just felt a little shrug, like I'm late to the party kind of thing.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of people do that come to me.
Okay, good. Okay. I'm glad we're addressing this.
Yes.
So, Whitney says you're not.
No. And so the other great benefit of this is if you're getting in and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm late to it. And also there like doesn't feel like, maybe there was a lot of hype a few years back. That's great. That's great because that also shows how every 4 years the market cycle goes crazy up and then it goes crazy down and everyone thinks that crypto's dead. So it's just realizing and seeing like the cycle is normal and natural and it's very emotional for people, which is also why you could feel like you were so late because a lot of people have gotten rich off of it already.
Yeah. And a lot of people lost money too, right?
A lot, yes.
Do you want to speak to that for a second?
Yeah, totally. Also, because that's a huge fear for most.
Right.
Elephant in the room is
actually, yes, I should have mentioned that in my fear list.
Yes.
Of course, losing money.
Yes. And also like full transparency for myself, like made 6 figures, also have lost 6 figures in differing values.
Okay.
And this is just the asset class that we sign up for where we're like, oh, we know that volatility is a given. It's not a bug. It's a feature. It's a gift that price goes up so fast. And we also know as humans, like we're actually not going to know when the top is in because when the top is there, like, you're just like, oh, price is today. And then like
guessing game.
Yeah. And then like price moves along and then you're like, oh, look back at that point in time. Like, duh, that was where the price was high. So,
I mean, that's such a great point. We don't know.
No, we don't.
And we don't know when it's going to continue to go up. I mean, like, I still laugh at my dad living in downtown Austin in the 90s. And he was like complaining about how expensive everything was, right? It's like laughable now. Yeah.
This is where it's like zoom out
energy. Should have bought everything. Yeah. Should have bought all of South Congress. Yeah.
Monopoly game.
I mean, really.
That's where we're at right now in the crypto space. So it's like, oh, if you just see where the patterns are, then you're like, oh, I just pick up these things. Cause like in 10 years, what's not going away?
Right.
This stuff. But then to piggyback on the aspect of, my brain is blanking. We were just talking about fears of losing. Okay. So this is the importance of, since volatility is a given, this is why you need a plan and you need a strategy, like as you're getting invested, but like before price is high.
Okay. What's the plan?
Well, you need an exit strategy. You need like data points, you need things because realistically what happens is like price goes super high and you're like for my own self, 25K to 500. And you're like, oh my God, like, wow, I'm so rich. Wow. Like I thought when price was that high, I was like, we're going to go to $1 million. Like, why would I sell? Okay, cool. What was that? That was my like ego and that was greed speaking.
Ooh.
And that's typically why most people lose money too.
Mm-hmm.
Is because the little voices in their head being like, oh, we're just getting started.
Yeah.
No. When those voices kick off, that's when you should be pulling out.
Okay.
So it's first acknowledging that like emotional intelligence is huge in this investing journey, especially if you want to lock wealth in. But this is also where like you need data points. I'm like a huge advocate where I'm like, last market cycle, I wish I had more community and more people that were like emotionally supportive for me.
Ooh.
So because like building wealth, crypto, it's not a solo sport.
Oh, okay. Is that where your Queen of Millions group comes in? And
Yeah. I mean, that's one tool for people. And I wildly love it where I'm like, people get to come and like their whole humanness is allowed and received. And like, I want to hear your emotions. And also let's give you some numbers. Let's give you some logic. Let's give you some strategy.
Why is it a community thing though?
Crypto?
Yeah.
So
Is it because of that demand and you feel like you just have more of your ear to the ground or something?
there's so much information that's hitting you and like it's moving so fast that there's no way for you to possibly consume all of the information and also make a great decision.
Okay.
So like fundamentally, I love to strip investing back. Like what is investing? It's just a game of making decisions.
Okay. Great.
You buy this?
I make decisions all the time.
All the time. All the time. You make a decision, I want to buy this. And then you make a decision as you go. Like, I'm not going to sell. I'm not going to sell. I'm going to keep holding. I'm not selling. And then there is a day that you come and you say, oh, I'm making the decision that I'm selling today.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really simple act. You're investing. It's just about making decisions.
And when you sell, that's kind of like cashing out, right? You're putting it back to dollars.
Yep, exactly. Okay. The challenging part, though, is making the decisions and navigating your emotions because it grows so exponentially and like our human brains are not wired for exponential growth. Like, I mean, even like virality, like going viral on Instagram or any social platform.
Or people that get famous really fast or win the lottery. There's a good example.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like people's brains don't know how to catch up, which is why I find like lottery example, virality on any social platform. What do people need more than anything? Isn't it a friend? They need emotional support to be like, oh my God, this is all coming up. These are my stories. This is what lives within me and it's coming out now. How do I still make decisions? How do I operate my business? How do I preserve my wealth? If you don't have people in your court that are asking you those conversations, odds are you're probably not going to make a decision. Your greed's going to kick in. Your ego's going to kick in.
Yeah.
And then you're going to lose money. And that goes back to the fear of, well, how do I not lose money? Get yourself with people. Like it's a truly education space and journey because your goal is aligning to exponential wealth.
Aligning to exponential wealth. That's right. That's our goal.
It's not the stock market game of 10%.
Right.
Predict linear growth.
Do you think you're aligned to exponential growth?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I am. I like to think I am.
I think you are.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it today. I was like, I have an investment in a company and I'm like so ready to like have that just 10x, 50x, whatever it is. But I was like offering that up. So what are some tools to help people align to that?
So I like to,
and you speak mostly to women, but this goes for anyone.
Oh yeah. I mean, I speak mostly to women. Yeah. I speak to everyone. But mostly to women, yes, because I just have a very special sweet spot for like financial empowerment for women.
For sure. I do too.
Yeah. As people are reflecting on this, I love to ask and just like zoom out and be like, okay, so we're talking about money, but where in your life are you aligned to exponential growth in other avenues? Because it's just a network effect.
Yes.
You're like, on social media is a beautiful platform in that sense. Like if you have systems set up for you, systems are there to harvest exponential eyeballs or exponential system to put someone into a funnel and buy X, Y, and Z. There may also be a network effect that happens if like you go out and network at different events and someone's like, hey, I heard about Amy, blah, 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 blah. And who knows, that person can also have exponential eyeballs. And then suddenly you're like, oh, I didn't have to do anything. But like it created a reputation, which allows me to go exponential.
I like that. I like taking systems that we've already got and applying them in different ways, especially to money. Like I like applying it to saying like, oh, joy, is there a limit to my joy, or is there a limit to my love? And it's like, no, like with your children or whoever, your friends, loved ones. And there's not. And so it's like, why am I putting these limits on in other areas? And like, how do I open up? How do I take that feeling and just apply it here as well? Right. Don't you think?
Yeah. The love, when you said that one too, I was like, oh,
Love is a great
exponential.
One. It 100%, right?
And
it's never going to run out.
Exactly. And it's like, if when you're comparing exponential, the other part is you're comparing it to linear growth. And it's like, love doesn't work on a linear pathway of like, when I'm talking about linear, I'm talking about like you graduate from first grade to second grade to like to get the corporate job, to get the promotion.
Now I love you this much.
Yes.
And then I'll love you this much. And then
no, but instead it's very volatile. You go through tough times and you build more love, and then it's exponentially more love. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of seeing the whole exponential nature of life, which I think we've been kind of indoctrinated to think like, oh, life is so linear. No, life in its most organic sense, when it's not controlled, is exponential. Same thing in the financial markets as well, but also like the matrix, the system, all these things, they've programmed us to fear exponentiality because we don't have control. And because emotions come up, we can't like cap our growth.
We've been programmed by the matrix to fear exponentiality.
It's a pretty good system. They're like, be our worker bee, please.
Oh, fuck, you're right. Whoa, yeah. Huh. You're right. They have.
They've done such a great job. Like the factory workers back in the day, they've had to train us to do these things.
Oh yeah, totally. That's like the origin of the coffee break. And, like, I don't know if you read Michael Pollan's book on coffee. It's a good listen. It's a quick listen on Audible. And it's great though. But it's like the history of like things like that.
Oh, that's fascinating.
It's so fascinating. But we have been trained in ways that we don't see even the history of, with just little things that keep us working. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're retraining ourselves to exponential wealth. Mm-hmm. I love that. I feel prouder when I say that. I highly recommend everyone trying to say that out loud.
I'm aligning myself to exponential
I'm
wealth.
aligning myself to exponential wealth. Fuck yeah. Yeah, very here for it. Can you believe we've been talking for an hour already?
Oh my God, this is great.
It's so great. I love episodes like this that just go by so fast, and I have 8,000 questions. So, okay, let me see what haven't we touched on yet that we really need to cover. Like, okay, so how about this? How about the just really practical nature of it? Like, say, so I'm maybe starting an account on Coinbase or one of these three that you recommended for people in the United States. And then I am like starting to research and stuff. I feel like, energy flows where attention goes. So you're going to start, your algorithm's going to get the hang of it real fast, and you'll start seeing some things and gaining some momentum and understanding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what else am I doing? Yeah.
Well, and even within that too, I really like to separate of kind of like, what do you like to invest in and why?
Yeah.
And so this is where like,
I like things that excite me and that are just fun and growing.
Yes.
Like I invested in Apple many, many years ago. I think I told my partner at the time, my former spouse, like, oh, I want to own some Apple stock. And he bought it as a gift for me, and it did great. And then I sold it. Yeah.
Your intuition, your intuitive knowing and future-minded.
And it wasn't like I was early on in Apple by any stretch, I don't know what year it was, probably 2008 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would recommend for anyone is you need to have an education. The crypto world is so big and it's moving so fast that if you are entering in this space without an education, I can basically say good luck and also kind of don't enter.
So plan an education.
You need an education. And typically with an education comes the plan. So if this, for whatever people are looking at, this is where like I have a Crypto 101 program that like has gone through very tested and tried. People love it. They're obsessed.
Yeah.
But also if like that's not for you, there's plenty of other teachers out there. YouTube is a great resource. It's just a matter of you have to like vet who you want to learn from and who you trust. And really like ask yourself, what type of game do you want to play? Because there's a ton of people who are trading a ton, doing all these things. But I'm really all about like, how do you be as energetically efficient and also be smart with your time and energy when it comes to your money as well? Because you can easily turn crypto into a full-time job. But I don't think it's fun and exciting if you've just created another job for yourself.
That's like a day trader or something. I don't want to do that.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Yes. So this is where like you need an education so you can also create a plan that works for yourself. You can train your brain to spot patterns. So you're working very strategically.
Mm-hmm.
You're being very energetically efficient, but you're also being very strong in your convictions and your confidence around what you're doing with your money.
Yeah.
We love these things.
Oh my God. I'm already a queen of millions. I love it. Yes.
So regardless, you need to have a game plan, or else like the internet's going to be like, buy this, buy that. And you're going to like not be patient. You're not going to be zoomed out, and you're just going to like be selling and trading off your emotions.
Yeah. We don't want that.
No, we don't want that. So then and this is the part that like, so a lot of people will avoid, but this is where I'm like, hi, come get cozy with me.
Okay.
Is like, you need the education to help ground the emotions so you can be more emotionally intelligent. And this can really act as a personal development tool for you too. What's
your education system kind of like? Like if somebody were to do that, what would that be like?
So right now I have a program that's about 15 to 20 hours long of pre-recorded stuff. And like, I give a list of all of my favorite cryptos, but I also teach like frameworks, like basic, like what is crypto? Why is it here? How can you navigate it?
Nice.
And then a lot around emotions, patterns, timing. You get like all of my rich tools, spreadsheets, everything, like super well, exit strategies, numbers, all that stuff.
Nice. That's manageable.
Yeah.
15 to 20 hours. I like that.
Yeah.
How much is that for people?
That is $800. And then if you want to join into Queen of Millions, which is like included with, you get the Crypto 101, and this is only for women, but like you get a year of learning, weekly calls, guest speakers, like building out your financial literacy and wealth mindset. And that is currently at $3,000 for the year.
Are there, that's cool. Very cool that you've set this up. Are there like funds, like mutual funds of crypto?
There are different hedge funds. There are different ways you can get exposure in different ways, but well, okay. So recently there has been the Bitcoin ETF and the Ethereum ETF. I don't know if you've heard about that.
ETF, no.
So you can buy that like on now the stock exchange.
Oh, I've seen this, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So for my thing,
so you buy it on the stock exchange.
Yeah. Personally, I don't like this because I don't actually own my own Bitcoin. Instead, like someone like BlackRock or Vanguard owns your money. So
right.
I personally have sovereignty and I love owning my own crypto.
I see. No, I get it. And I was kind of imagining one that was solely in the crypto space I would prefer almost. I mean, I don't, of course, it's like BlackRock or whatever. I don't
want their fingers touching my stuff.
Yeah.
Especially as like regulations start to change. I'm like, this is a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not really an index of cryptos you can hold yet. I have a feeling probably in a few years that will be there, but that will probably be like very select type of coins.
Interesting. I know that like our nonprofit, Fight for the Forgotten, was taking crypto for a while as donations. Are you seeing some nonprofits like take those?
Definitely.
Yeah. That would be really cool if anybody's looking to donate. Maybe we'll set that up for Fight for Her because that's empowering women too. They're starting businesses for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
Badass,
and
right?
aligning to the future, the growth.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So it's very, very hopeful. That's interesting too, right? Like to see nonprofits and companies operating in those spaces.
And even like they're just trending for people like to zoom out into your mind if you're still like questioning crypto to some degree. A lot like companies are now talking about putting Bitcoin's just one example. Like I use this where it's like Bitcoin acts as like the front runner to the rest of the crypto space.
It's like the grandpa.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
grandmother.
Queen, king energy.
Let's go grandma.
Really?
Yeah.
And companies are talking about putting crypto on their books, like holding companies holding it.
Yeah.
Which is also, you're like, oh, if companies want to buy this, if BlackRock's buying this, if the governments are buying this, wait, what's the pattern? Is people are just collectively all going to buy this because it's growth oriented.
That's what Fight for the Forgotten did. Like he had it. I don't remember the details, but but like someone donated like 3 Bitcoin or whatever it was. So it went way up and helped fund a lot. And now, of course, he's like, I wish I'd held on to it longer, whatever. But whatever. It went to good.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. What do you see for the future? Like when you look ahead at your own projections and stuff, what do you intuit or feel that like?
A challenge that is in the crypto space. So as we're zooming forward, I also like to see where we're currently at and what are some of the problems. And so a huge problem is the user experience. So, but this is also like the investing opportunity. So it's not super clean and easy for a lot of people to buy, which is also why people come to me and they're like, hi, can you help me feel comfortable and feel confident with this technology? And I'm like, yeah, come on, let's play on the blockchain.
Yeah.
And so zooming forward, so it's even like early days of the internet, people are like, oh, this is clunky. This is, what do I do? And we're just learning to speak a different language. But at a certain point, so I mentioned earlier about like the adoption curve. There's like one visual that I absolutely love where even if like anyone wants to type into Google, like adoption curve, and you can see where it talks about like innovators, early adopters, mass population, laggards, like you see that there's a bell curve based on adoption. And so in the future, there will be this level of adoption where the user experience is really clean. Like people won't even realize that they're using crypto.
Interesting.
I also don't think that crypto will be the only financial system out there, but I think that there will be multiple systems.
I can't even conceive. I can't like, what would that be?
Well, I mean, it's the way it currently is.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that the like fiat system will probably be upgraded, evolved in different ways, and maybe turned digital.
What does fiat system mean?
Fiat is like US dollar, euro, government run stuff.
Traditional government run currencies.
That will have to be upgraded in some way, shape, or form. So I think that will be there. But then there will probably be another market being like the crypto market, which is more decentralized and it's operated peer-to-peer and you're removing the government from the transactions. And so there's this like freedom and sovereignty that lives there.
Cool.
So I think we can kind of see in the world too, where there's a lot of separation of systems, of sovereignty. And people are like, wait, I don't want the government meddling with these things. So let me create a different market. And so there's a lot of fragmentation going on in the world, which I think is just the pattern that we're going to probably see going forward for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I could see it being more clean and easier for people. Like, look at building a website, I mean, like, remember, I'm sure you remember when it was like clunky, hard code. And now you're like, let me go in Squarespace and plug in this font, like, or choose a font. You don't even have to plug it in anymore. Like it's just that tipping point. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And so even to wrap that up too, is like noticing where we're at right now. Like I said, there's well over 1 million different ways you can invest in crypto. There are going to be so many. There's so many that are going to go to zero. So many that are not investing things. And there's going to be a lot of ways that people are going to keep losing their money. This is why it's so important to have an education, to be like, I'm taking this seriously because I understand how important of an opportunity it is to change my financial future. And also I understand that I don't want to be scammed. I don't want to lose my money. And I want to invest in solid things that are actually going to be going up and have a demand. So this is like our job as humans, I think going forward is like the world wants to scam us in so many ways. And like our job is like, how do we stay empowered? How do we stay sovereign? But how do we ask the right questions, go to the right people who like, I may not know the things right now, but like I have to go ask someone else.
Yeah.
So like, this is a new space. Like if you're a newbie, just fully own that and also be like, I need help and support in some way, shape or form.
Totally.
If that's YouTube and that works for some people, great. If not, like for me, I needed a mentor. I fully learned that way and I was able to rewrite a lot of stories around that stuff and also make a lot of money from it in the process.
Yeah. There's that show Bitcoin on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You know what? I had to turn it off.
Yeah.
I watched it and he was talking about how much his family invested in everything. And I suddenly was like, I don't want to see all these people lose all their money. And I turned it. I literally haven't watched the rest because I was like sad for them or something. But yeah, we do have to protect ourselves and education is key.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anytime there's like, so with Bitcoin too, it's a matter of seeing anytime there's like, I like to see when markets get really excited, there's a lot of attention. There's a lot of like, I like to say frothy energy. Like it's just like with any market, there's saturation. And so whenever that does come, you always start to bring bad actors or people who are more salesy rather than like strong fundamental crypto education or like strong fundamentals.
Yeah.
And therefore they're just trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
And so with Bitcoin, it very much felt like he was just trying to like make a quick buck.
Oh yeah. They're like
all of them. They're like, oh, money's
driving
flowing
in Lamborghinis and stuff.
Let's paint the picture and let's just keep taking money and flushing
it.
it.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll finish it. It might be educational in some way.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. It's entertainment, right?
Yeah, I think that one's less. It's just a great example of showing that there's a lot of scams out there, and that's the importance of education. The more educated you are, the harder it is for you to be disempowered. The more that you are empowered, the less fear-based that, like, when the fear stuff, it won't hit you. Like, this is just the future we're moving into.
Yeah.
And we can totally see that on the political landscape right now.
Yeah, big time. What percentage of people in the space are women?
Ooh, I saw one stat that people said it was 30%, which I find very funny. Like,
that sounds high, right?
That sounds high.
Yeah.
And the thing with women is that the women who are investing are very sharp, but they're often very quiet. So I was the same too. I was very nervous to speak publicly online until I started speaking. And then I was like, I can't hold this back.
Really?
Yeah.
You were nervous though.
Oh,
because your family too. And they were.
I was more so concerned about the men where I was like, oh, I don't know enough. It's like the whole imposter syndrome.
God. Yes, totally.
And I was like, they nerd out about this all the time. And the funny thing is with women, it's like, no, we nerd out about this just as much, but we're asking different quality questions. And we're not concerned with just like price go up, price go down. Like, we're not zoomed in on their time scale. Instead, we're more zoomed out on, like, I'm just speaking for women collectively. I find a lot of women are like zoomed out to like, what are the bigger patterns and the bigger ways I could sustain wealth?
Yep.
And I thought that was something that was not interesting for people, which was like the little voices in the head, don't listen to them.
Right.
Please share them, because so it's a big thing where I'm just like, hey, women, we actually need to actively speak about these things. And that was also a huge passion of why I created Queen of Millions, is like, women need to come together speaking about money, speaking about crypto, choosing empowerment, and rewriting a lot of stories for themselves.
There's definitely a wave of that. You know, that's been a big conversation, I feel like, and women stepping up and more into their power and talking about money, and a movement of, I love that you immediately were like, let's talk numbers, you know, because people can feel really weird about, and I've noticed a movement about saying how much money you make and those sorts of things. Like, it's really great. Knowledge is power.
And we need to share that knowledge.
Yeah.
And then the more we talk about it, the more we can also like let the past trauma air out too. So like,
yeah.
So like, if we're scammed about something, like, how many women just are like, oh, I need to tuck that away in my gut and make it mean that like, oh, I'm not good with these things, or like, oh, I'm so susceptible.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, let it out. It was one incident. It does
right.
not mean who you are.
That's right. I have so much admiration for people. I watch a ton of, like, you know, true crime or catfishing stories or whatever. But the people that speak out, I'm like, yeah, you know what? We learn from other people's stories, and it empowers us when we're able to tell our story. Even if you're you got conned or whatever happened, you know, even if it didn't have the happiest ending, you can change the script on that.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Okay. So what did we miss that we need to cover before we go? Or what do you just want to say as we go, or reiterate, whatever?
One thing that feels alive is noting how much, yes, we're talking about money. Yes, we're talking about finances. So many people can push this stuff aside. But more than anything, I invite you, if it feels awake and alive, is to lean into it, not just for the number amount. But more than anything, I found for myself, this has been like, done all the ayahuasca ceremonies, done dark room retreats, done all these crazy things. But truly, for me, crypto and finances have been the greatest personal development tool and greatest healing tool.
That is so interesting. You know?
Yeah.
Really, truly. And honestly, we do tend to push it aside, but it is literally such a massive part of our lives.
It's like, if freedom is anything you value, you can try to, it's like, okay, you want freedom. Okay, well, there's all these different types of freedom of expression, all the things. But ultimately, financial freedom is going to be pinning down a lot of them. Or if you get financial freedom, that will unlock a whole lot more freedoms that you did not even realize.
Oh my God. And your nervous system relaxes, let's be real. I mean, really, in the last few years, I've had some ups and downs financially, and Justin and I together. And I like my nervous system, now that I feel like over the hump on that and in a new space, it's like, I can just tell that I'm functioning in a different way. Right? Don't you notice that with so many people? You will. It's a freer space to be in. You don't have a low level anxiety of what don't I know and can I pay my next bill?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then your decision qualities get better. For sure.
Fuck, yeah.
Totally.
Yes.
Your circles start to expand.
Yep.
Like this is the pattern of, if we want to bring it back to, aligning yourself to exponential growth. Because your nervous system's relaxed. You don't feel nervous being like, oh, I don't belong in this room. Instead, you're like, wow, I'm in this magic flow state. I'm so relaxed around money. My nervous system feels so relaxed. I'm so trusting of life, the universe, everything, myself. I'm so trusting I can make great financial decisions for myself.
Yep.
I'm so trusting that like I'm surrounding myself with people. I'm asking myself the right questions. And also that's when you're like in that magic portal just to keep on attracting more magic and opportunities.
And then your energy you're putting in is not only fun, but it's I win or I learn, and it's just keeping moving up, expansion, growth, all those good things and then we're getting into quantum and energy and all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm here for it.
It's the magic zone.
Fuck yeah. I'm so here for it. I don't know how many times I said fuck yeah in this episode. I think 5. And I mean it. So, okay, everybody wants to work with you now. How can they find you? Or is there anything you want to add? Anything else we need to add? Because I don't want to.
I think that's a sweet spot. But
I do too.
If you do feel the call, it's just like, do not lean away from this because opportunity seasons do not last for long. The windows do close. You like literally the ship will sail, price will take off, and you're gonna be like, damn, I really wish I got in. So if the calling is there, lean in. If you need more resources, my website, queenofmillions.com. I have a ton of resources for people there. If you are crypto curious, you want more information, you just want the course.
Crypto curious.
I'm
crypto curious.
Yes. I mean, we covered a whole lot in this conversation in general. And then joining the community too. So if people want that side of things, great. And if not, I also do one-to-one work too to help expedite people's journey and be like, let's go.
Cool. God, it's wild. It's wild that we're doing this. And like, I mean, anybody listening, like, what are you attracting right now? Why are you listening to this? Why did this come into your field? Because literally today I was like, all right, I want to earn this. I was like setting some new earning goals for me. And I was like, well, how's that going to come about? What am I going to do? And, like then these things happen. And it's funny that we met like to do this. I mean, I'm sure you do podcasts all the time, but to do this one right now seems
so fitting.
Seems fitting. Seems like really aligned. So yes. So start aligning to your exponential wealth and all the possibilities. I love it. All right. We've covered your websites and everything. Anything else to add?
Say hi to me on Instagram if you want to, whitney.magic.crypto.
Cool.
I love chatting with people.
Why'd you put the word magic in there?
Oh, I went so last name is Woodcock on the Twitter side, and on the like crypto side, I was really nervous using my last name. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I go by Whitney Magic on the public sense.
Oh, great.
And also like everything's magic.
It
Money, crypto magic, everything. So anyways, Whitney Magic.
I love it. Yes. That was my last album, was called Magic. It was a double album. Yeah. But I mean, yeah. So here for it. Well, thank you so much. I'm just so thrilled that you were here and that you were here. Thank you to everybody that showed up. This is super expansive. And I'm really excited. It's so cool. And I can't wait to hear how this impacted you and how you felt. So please do write a review or reach out to myself or to Whitney and subscribe to the newsletter, all the things, follow the show, rate, all those great things wherever you're listening. And you can find more shows and any other information either in the show notes or on amyedwards.info. Everything you could want is there. So including Fight for Her, which I mentioned, and I want to start speaking up more about that on this show. So thank you so much for being here. You are a shining badass. And so we're moving on up. And I love you so much. Till next time.
Thank you so much for being here. Please rate, review, and follow us. And we'd love to hear your feedback. Keep shining bright.